Hi everyone, happy Tuesday. And today, for text study, you don't need anything besides your brain and your listening ears. Today, you will be able to recognize the different kind of texts that we've been reading. Now, during the school year, we've read a few different kind of texts, and we're going to talk about those today because at the end of the book that we'll be reading, you will tell me what kind of text you think it is. Now, this year, we've looked at informational text. Say informational text. Do you remember what an informational text is? Yeah, if you said an informational text is a book where the author's trying to teach us something, you're right. So here is an informational text about Europe. Now, informational texts have some pretty special things that we don't always see all the time. We might see a table of contents where it tells us where we're going to find the information in the book. So if I want to learn all about the people of Europe, I'm going to go to page 9. Now, we might also see words to know, kind of like a little dictionary. Sometimes they have the definitions. We might see more information about things that we're learning about in the book, and we could find an index, and it tells us where we might find keywords in the book. That's super important. So if I wanted to learn all about animals, I could go to page 21. If I wanted to learn about the languages in Europe, I could go to page 9, 11, and 13. Now, this is an informational text. Something else that we've read this year are fictional stories. Now, a fictional story is a story that's made up by the author. And most of the time, the author is not trying to teach us anything. Now, this fictional story was about a little house. And it's told from the view of the little house. And the little house wants to experience the city, and then the city comes, and we learn all about the way the house is feeling. Now, do houses have feelings in real life? No. So it's made up. Houses don't have feelings. So books where we see animals talking, houses talking, or where we're reading from their point of view, those are going to be fictional stories. Now, another kind of story, or something else that we've looked at this year, are poems. And poems were normally on the pieces of paper with small lines, and they rhyme, and they a lot of the times the poems that we've read weren't a part of a book, and they didn't have many illustrations with them. So today, I'm going to read a text, and you're going to tell me if you think it's a poem. So does it rhyme? Does it have short lines, like little paragraphs? Is it a fictional story? Is it something that's made up? Or is it an informational text? Something that the author is trying to teach us. Now, today's story is The Carrot Seed. And it's written by Ruth Kress. The illustrations are done by Crockett Johnson. The Carrot Seed. A little boy planted a carrot seed. Here we go. His mother said, "I'm afraid it won't come up." His father said, "I'm afraid it won't come up." And his big brother said, "It won't come up." Every day, the little boy pulled up the weeds around the seed and sprinkled the ground with water. So here's a little boy working hard to make sure that carrot grows. But nothing came up. How do you think he's feeling? I'd be pretty sad if I planted something and nothing came up. And nothing came up. Everyone kept saying it wouldn't come up. But he still pulled up the weeds around it every day and sprinkled the ground with water. And then, one day, what do you think's going to happen now? Keep it in your brain, and then you'll see if it happened. A carrot came up. Wow, and look at that carrot plant. It's so big. It's even taller than the boy. Just as the little boy had known it would. And look at, it looks like the biggest carrot I've ever seen. It's as big as the boy. Now, we just read this text, the carrot seed. I want you to remember the text that we discussed before reading. We talked about informational text where we learned something. We talked about fictional text, and it's a story that the author makes up. And a lot of the times, things like that don't happen in the real world. So we might see things that are way bigger than the character. We might see animals talking, objects talking. So it's fictional, it's made up. Or poems. Now, our poems were short lines. Sometimes they rhymed. Now, we didn't see a lot of illustrations with any of the poems that we looked at either. So, what kind of text do you think this is? Is it an informational? No? Why not? Yeah, the author isn't trying to teach us anything here. Now, we're not learning about carrot seeds. Is it a poem? No, we don't have lines that are grouped together. We don't see or hear a rhythm. Words don't rhyme, so it's not a poem. That means that this text is a fictional story. It's made up. We hear about a boy who plants a carrot seed, and eventually the carrot seed grows, and it's even bigger than the boy. Is that something that's made up? Yeah. So today, or any other day, when you're looking at your stories around the house, or even at your stories on Rad's Kids, you can think, what kind of story is this? Is it an informational text? Is it a fictional story? Or is it a poem?